Welcome back to Workers and Resources and Papastan, and you join me with this road construction from the border, and we are constructing the road up to the plateau where we're going to construct our first settlement, and we have a road with various bits of infrastructure that's going to be supplying a oil derrick, which is going to generate us at this point in the game about 300-400 rubles a month, which isn't going to make a big dent on the amount of resources that we're spending, but it's certainly going to help moderate the amount that we're spending by basically free oil that we're just going to send back to the customs house. So what's happening? So we've constructed the asphalt road, and this was all based from our construction offices that we set up, and we're getting to the point where we are going to soon complete this road, and then we can start working on the building infrastructure. You're still constructing this road, and it's taking longer because vehicles are having to go further to travel to complete the construction, because everything at the moment is coming from the customs office. So what I'm going to do is start constructing the settlement up here, but there are a couple of things that we need to do first to assist us with that. So I'm going to extend our little free mud or sand road, I suppose, on this map out a little bit from this area. I'm going to build a few more construction depots. At the moment we've only built 3, so we can build another 4 because we have a limit of 7. So I'm going to build a couple more of these, which is going to be the base for the construction in this area, if I can get it to click. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to provide some storage areas, again free storage, because we don't really want to start constructing permanent buildings until we need them, and these are purely just for this construction process. I'm going to place one here and one here. Now these storage are going to provide for the items that we need to construct the buildings. So we're going to need bricks, steel and boards. So I'm going to use these storage areas for those. Gravel needs a separate type of storage area, and concrete and asphalt cannot be stored. They can only be brought in from either the factory, which I don't have yet, or the border, which is what I'm going to use. Now for the gravel, we will use the aggregate storage free, which is essentially another type of storage area. I'm going to pop that on the end. If it's going to pick up the road, there we go. What I'd also like to do is to create another free refueling station, because this is quite far from the refueling station, which is down by the border. I'm going to position that in this location, so this can be picked up from the road. So whilst this road is getting constructed, we need to tweak our delivery office, which we set up down here. So at the moment that's going to the border and it's taking fuel to the gas station here. I'd like to add the other gas station as somewhere else that needs to be refueled, and again 30% is the limit on the gas station, so if it goes below 30% the truck will come and load it up. So I imagine that's already happening. Yep. So the fuel truck is going to the border to fill up, and it's going to provide fuel to the gas station. I'd like to start the quite long, slow process of building up the construction materials that we need here. So what kind of proportions do we need? So when we're looking at the residential buildings, steel is not the huge item. Bricks tends to be the big item in the apartments, then half of that quantity of boards, and then almost half again, slightly over half of that is steel. When we look at the grocery store, again, bricks is the big thing, then boards, then steel. Same for the pub, slightly more steel in the pub, but it's sort of negligible in the amounts there. It's really the residential apartments that are the big constructions. If we were to look at some of the emergency items, take the fire station, you can see it's mostly bricks. For the small clinic, again, mostly bricks. So we'll make one of these for bricks, one of these for steel and boards. So how are we going to set this up? So for those items, bricks, boards and steel, we need a new truck, and it needs to be a open hull. And because it's quite far, I'd like to get something that's got quite a lot of capacity and quite a lot of speed. So I'm going to pick this because it can take 10 tons of bricks, which is much more than the others. So we'll buy that. And I'd also like a dumper, and again, not the slower one with the big capacity. We'll get the cheaper one that goes a little faster. So we'll get that one. Then what we need to do is, once those vehicles have arrived, we can then start assigning the items that we want them to pick up and where we want them to take. So the first thing they're going to do is go and fuel up, because as last time, the vehicles are delivered practically empty. Come back to that. How's our road construction doing? We're waiting. It's working slowly. The further we go away from here, the longer it's taking to do. They're paving the ends here, so that's good. That's coming along. Right, delivery office. Excellent. So now we've already got the customs house as a pickup item. So we want to pick up bricks, steel and boards, and we want to take those we'll call this one bricks, and we'll call this one, making sure we don't load anything from there, steel and boards. And let's go to 50%. Don't want to buy an infinite amount of material until we actually definitely know we need it, because money will be very tight. So those vehicles are already loading up at the border, so that's in progress. And we just need to then also do the gravel. I can find it. Gravel to load as well. And gravel will be taken to... Did that actually build it? Yes, I did. To unload there, gravel. So these should fill up eventually. The gravel truck is on its way. So this is going to take a little while, because it's quite a lot of quantities we're going to need, and it's going to take a little while to get going. So in the new construction offices, basically two of them are going to be for buildings. One of them is going to be for roads, because I'm going to have a lot of roads that they're going to need to construct kind of before the buildings. So I'm going to buy some new vehicles. Yeah, we're going to need a dumper, and I'll get the big dumper again, and I will get another bulldozer. That one's been pretty good. Another roller and another paver. So those four items can live there. They're obviously going to have to come from the border, so they'll take a little while to come in. I'm going to copy the Material sources. And I'm going to change it so that the gravel comes from here. So that only pick up gravel from there and not go to the border. Steel from there, bricks from there, boards from there. Excellent. So that'll help construct the roads a little bit along the way before we start getting with the tank construction. So they're coming in. Let's see how the road is doing down here. We need to finish rolling the asphalt down at this end. They're coming along. We're getting some bricks delivered. Okay, so the area that I was hoping to start planning out, it's a little steep here, and as we get into the white area, that's where I'd like our main road to come off, which aligns roughly with this junction that we set up for construction. And as we noted before, the grids work on lines, not in the space between. So I'm going to create an initial road, something like this length. The first thing I'm going to do is create a bus platform. The bus platform is going to be where all our citizens who live in this little settlement are going to get on and off to go to their various jobs. So you have to be quite careful that you pick one that's got the right sort of capacity. So you see 500 workers, it's going to take 20 tons of concrete to build this. 230 workers, 10 tons of concrete, 30 tons of concrete for 400, so you kind of have to do the maths as to whether you think it's worth it. This one's actually a bit more efficient than this one, because concrete is the thing that's got to be dragged all the way from the border. This one involves bricks, boards and steel, but this one is just concrete, asphalt, gravel and steel. So you kind of have to see which ones you think are going to work out for you the best. I'm personally going to go for the 500 one. This has a single input road. As you can see, even though I've got the grid on and the snap, things don't quite go straight. So you do get these slightly odd little bits of roads at slight angles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave enough space in these areas to get lots of footpaths in. So the principle that I'm going to do is that if I'm building footpaths this tight to the road, I can get a decent sort of crossing place like that. And then on the other side of the road, you do have to be quite careful in what order you construct them. And you can't cross these with roads, so that works okay, but you can't. You kind of have to be very careful in the order you construct things. So let's get the bus platform constructed first. So I want it to be kind of back on this line. And I'm going to build it roughly that area. What this means is that I can have a footpath connection that is nice and neat. You have to do this very carefully in pieces. So I can now connect my paths. I can't do it in a straight line, so it has to be on these little wonky angles. Depends on what your taste is. I like straight lines when it comes to cities. But hey, let's do some curves. Let's have some fun, I suppose. So we definitely need the bus station in the center. What else would I like to have in the center? Well, I'd like to have a shop So this sells food and meat, two things which are absolutely necessary for the citizens. So these I think I'm going to place in this area, and again I'm going to pull it back from areas where we're going to have paths. So see, I've flipped it there so those path lines can all join together from the bus station. So what do I mean by that? I mean when we build the asphalt footpath, these crossings have to do this. But we'll have connection this way. Again, we have to be quite careful how we connect this. There we go. That's a good start. So what else do we need? So we'll build a pub because alcohol is necessary. Telling me, brother. So to construct the road, we do need to pull back those paths, and we need to do it by an extra square either side. Again, why isn't that on grid? That's kind of really annoying. But there we go. And then we can connect our paths back up with its jaunty angles that it likes to have. And we'll have a footpath connection there. What we don't necessarily want is people having to get on the bus to get everywhere. So we have the pub, we have the shop, and we have the bus station. Other necessary items, we need a cinema, which is going to be our basic cultural item. And what we might start thinking about is where we have another road coming in from the side. I think we were to put the road roughly there, say something like that. I don't think I'm going to be short of space because I'm going to probably lose the game before we get to that point. I'm going to construct another road here. Items are starting to fill up slowly. Haven't got any gravel yet though. Maybe that's coming. So the cinema, quite a large item. Maybe we can position that nicely there. Oh, I need to flatten the terrain. So I need to get an excavator. I need a free one. So let's sort that out first. So here it comes. As soon as that's in the construction office, we can start using that to flatten locally areas that we need to. Meanwhile, the road is completed, and I would like to get my tiny little trickle of income started. So I'm going to start constructing the buildings at this point, but I do need some more construction offices to allow that to happen, because we are in road building mode so far down here, and we don't have anything set up for buildings yet. So we have a couple of free construction offices available. Oh, that's the limit. Okay. So what do we need here? Don't want to get anything that I've already got, so I'm going to get a concrete mixer. I need a excavator. And let's get a road crane and a bus so we can bring in workers from the border. That one will do. What we can do is we can start to remove vehicles from these construction offices that we don't necessarily need, start moving them where we do need them. So these guys, we can move these to this office, which is currently empty. Copying the settings over. What this means is, because we don't have any mechanisms in here, we can remove this construction office. And we can then create another one where we need it. So concrete guy is going to go and get some concrete. Just need to make sure that we enable these because I suspended them. Make sure that we pick up all the items. Like I said, this is going to make maybe 300, 400 a month. But it's better than nothing. At least something is coming in. Incidentally, this is also the area. If you didn't know, on the Arabic map, you can only position farms where there is a high humidity level, and that tends to be these greener, scrubbier areas around the base of the valley. Nothing is going to grow in the farms at the top. So we're also going to have our crop reduction happening in this area as well. Well, more on that later. Still says we don't have a free excavator. So let's see if we can find where that vehicle exactly is. It's fueling up. Okay, so it's going to go to the office in a second, and then we should be able to use it to do our terrain work. Road is getting constructed nicely. Building construction is taking place. We'll let that get on. As soon as this guy is back, we'll attempt the cinema again. Question is, does he literally have to come over to do it? Kind of. Not a very realistic way, but I'm kind of glad we didn't have to wait for that vehicle to come all the way over. And connect our footpaths up. Okay, shop, pub, bus station, cinema. So we're getting there. We need a sport offer. I'm going to build a basic football field. This doesn't need a road connection, so we might place it somewhere where we can. Something like that would be good. So let's build the paths first. And then see if we can drop that in. I like it there. That's good. Okay, we need some necessary state infrastructure. We need a small clinic. And I'm going to use this one from the workshop, which allows, it's very similar size, but it allows you to have 2 vehicles. I'm going to position it on that part of the road. You know what I haven't done? I haven't allowed for any footpath. So let's see if I can get those in as well. Yes, we have room. That's good. Okay, next we need a fire station. So that's also under state infrastructure. Under emergency. So that has 4 vehicles. So I can position this closer to the road so that it can get onto the main road more easily. Can't cross these road connections, unfortunately. What are we missing? We do need to have some kind of school to begin with. Kindergarten we're going to build closer to the residential areas. The ones without the prefab panels. So brick school, how big is these? These are good. These don't need a road access. So let's see if we can continue that footpath. Excellent. So within this area, we are going to need to sort our waste out. So some of these items are going to need the big garbage containers, because there's a difference between the small ones, which the residential buildings tend to use, and the big ones, which some of the more commercial buildings tend to use. And you can see these 2 items, the pub and the shop, are looking to connect to this. If I connect it up here, you can see that the cinema and the fire station would like to connect as well. But this is not going to serve both sides. So we have to arrange this somewhere that both of them can pick up. Might have to be. Is this somewhere here? Going to work for those 2. And somewhere here for those 2. In terms of the small garbage, none of the other buildings are needed. Waste connection, oh, this one is. About the school. I'm going to connect the road up and let's have a look at that. Not immediately clear. No, I built a footpath. It's actually impossible to see if I could have fit that in or not. That will go there. Monuments. And we're going to build a statue of Lenin. It's very important to keep loyalty to the party, of course. So, how are we getting on? We've got some bricks. We maybe had some steel. Not a lot of steel. And absolutely no aggregate is showing up. Let's see what's going on. Okay, it is being delivered because the truck has just gone in to the customs building to get some more. It's actually being used up in the construction of the roads. So that's where it's all going. So we're definitely going to need a bit more of that. How is the building construction going on down here? That's what I was going to do. I was going to create a construction office and then get some closed hole trucks so that we can get the mechanical components in. So we will build another construction office. Because buying vehicles is very, very expensive, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these vehicles that we already have, transfer them over to this depot where it's a lot more convenient. And we need to copy the original source building for the customs house. These two. What that means is these two construction offices are fetching everything from the border rather than driving away up the hill. There we go. So the reason I hadn't signed that, they were just sat there doing nothing. So that's why nothing's constructed yet. Okay, road construction is happening slowly. Gravel's getting picked up immediately as I deliver it. Okay, so what do we have? We've got most of everything we need there. We do need to have a water substation. So this just needs path access. And we need a sewage tank. I'm not going to connect these up to the river at this point. We're going to use vehicles to fill and empty these just because it's really not worth it at this point, I don't think. We're also going to need a power substation, so under the medium voltage electric substation. I think it will tell you only once you've assigned it. This does need road access. That's picking up everything there. But let's leave some space so that we can get the power cable in. I think once you click on it, no, only when it's constructed. When it's constructed, it'll tell you if that's enough. I'm going to work on the basis for now that it is, and if we need to bring more power up, then we shall do so. Right, in terms of the residential buildings, I'm going to bring first on grid. It's not there. Make sure I'm on the grid. Well, this is a problem with this road from the bus station. Isn't hardly any of them are. Oh, I love symmetry so much. I get defeated so often by games. Will it let me build a road there? Crossing of what? What am I crossing? Exactly, nothing. I bet it's that path that's in the way. Yes, it was. And I bet it'll let us put the path exactly back. No, of course not. Well, how naive. So where can we have a good crossing point for this? Okay, that will do. Right, so in terms of the residential buildings, I'm going to try and build 2 wings eventually. I'm going to start off in this area. And they're going to start medium, because medium seems a good guess. And I'm going to build them out of brick, because I don't have prefab panels at this point. So boards, brick, steel is the items that we're bringing in. And then gravel that we're bringing in as well, and then concrete and asphalt come directly from the border. So these have 110 workers. I'm going to build a few of these to begin with. The idea being that I'm going to be able to expand this area as much as possible with the infrastructure that we already have here. We do need to be that far off for it to work. We can't be that close to the road. So there's one. And yes, I'd like to be the same distance off the road. This needs a road. I believe it's fire access primarily. So we'll build a road there, then we can connect these. It's that way. Then let's build a couple more. So the tall bit is facing out. And the road connection, this is that way. How does that look? That's good. Nope. Oh, I need to flatten. Here we go. So we're starting to get down the hill a little bit here, starting to get a bit steep. So we still have the power, the sewer and the water connection. There we go. I'm going to make sure on these is that I don't automatically have citizens coming in. So I need to untick that. Because I want to make sure I have enough food, etc. Things like that before I actually have people come in. Which reminds me, do we need another shop? Because they do need clothes. Maybe a small store. How big is a small store? Not so bad. Put a small store over here. Quite a lot to construct there. Well, I think we just need to get on with it and get going. There was only so many construction offices, and are things actually happening down here? Very slowly. Be good to get all this operational before I start the construction up here. And also it would be good to get this road kind of finished as well, so that we can use this for full access. So I think there's another 2 construction offices that we can move. So that is completely spent. What are we waiting for here? We're waiting for steel, mechanical components, but it has had its concrete, its gravel, its asphalt. Just needs some workers. The workers are coming in by bus, so I think we'll build another construction office because we have at least 1 free. And to this I'm going to assign couple of buses. So this will just make sure that the workers are where they need to be on these various little sites, and then we can shift them up. So can you assign these vehicles to a different base? Yes, you can. You don't have to do the whole lot. I believe, yeah, so that only had one item. This has 3, so we can do the whole lot. So they should all be leaving. Yes. As soon as that's gone, we can remove this office. So these guys, I kept this from not doing anything. Now, it can get involved. I only kept it from doing anything because I needed it free to be able to level some of these items. So I'm not going to hit go on this until I've got these roads finished. So let's have a look at the power connection. So we've already got a transformer to go from high power to the lower power. Power transformer. So we can then take let's take the larger medium voltage wires up the hill. Take a tiny amount of steel and components. It's not that onerous to construct them. So items are starting to get constructed. We've got foreign workers coming in from the border. It is happening. Glacial pace as you'd expect. I'll just double check because I think I will up the requirements for bricks, the boards and the steel. Just get a bit more of that and actually more aggregate as well, because we're just going to blast through that. Might as well have a bit more of it. So when the workers come in from the border, it's almost like water. You pour it out, and it drains away, and then it's gone. Then you have to go and get some more. They don't stick around, unfortunately. So you have to keep going back for more, and then they gradually dissipate. It does take a little while until you have actual residential buildings constructed, which is what I'm trying to get to. We'll get there in the end. We're on the final stage of constructing the pump jack. Excellent. But of course we need power, so we need the rest of this infrastructure to follow suit, and then we can start getting our 300 rubles a month income. Not quite sure if it's worth it, but it just feels like I'm doing something to at least try and earn some money. Getting there with the roads. In an effort to speed up the distribution of items to the storage areas, I have duplicated the distribution office and bought some more open hull trucks just so we can get that process moving a little quicker. In terms of the construction of the oil derrick, we are just waiting on the final piece of the puzzle, which is the high voltage switch. Just need some steel and some workers, then we can get our oil derrick exporting a little tiny little trickle of oil to the border. Then what I'm going to do down here is start planning out the farms, because as I explained earlier, if you were to build a small field up on these areas, there's no humidity. It's basically a desert. There is no way the crops are going to grow, which kind of makes sense when you think of it that way. But as you come down to the valley, where you've got the greenery and the sort of scrubby sort of areas at the bottom, you can grow some crops. So this is where food is going to be grown as well. So it's going to get quite congested because we're just going to put these small fields where we can sort of position them, and they're going to build a little farm centrally that administers those crops. So to construct the fields doesn't take any materials to construct them, but the actual farm itself will. So we will need to have some construction facilities down here, but I'm not going to do that until I have constructed the residential area at the top, and I'm going to get that going as soon as the last item is finished. In fact, I'm going to get it going now, because by the time everybody starts mobilizing to construct this, it will be completed at the bottom there. So let's go. So a lot to do there, a lot of things to construct. And once this is finished, we will move these guys up to the top. It's going to take a little while for everyone to start getting assigned. There we are, all constructed. I believe everything is set up and connected. Just these power lines. That's fine. So we can turn the power on. Do that at the border. Just put 10% on initially. You can see that the oil derrick is running and it's starting to fill its tank. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this distribution office to go to derrick. Pump jack rather. Load oil. I want it to head there when it's 50% because of the time it takes to drive. And now I want to unload oil at the border. So whilst that fuel truck is sat there doing nothing, you can go and pick up oil and just give us that little bit of initial starting income. So what we can do now is start moving some of these construction offices further up the hill. Oh, but we have a full count already. One, two, three. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there is the other one. So we can move these guys to that. And once they've moved, we can then demolish this and then construct another one. So the first phase of this is constructing the roads. So we're getting the gravel delivered, and these roads will be constructed to allow access then to the buildings. So it's going to take a little while. We have everything and quite a lot of equipment up here. Quite a lot of material. Asphalt, as I say, asphalt and concrete still needs to come from the border. We can move these guys up as well. Let's just check where all the materials are coming from. Aggregate storage from the aggregate storage. Oh, we do need to change boards. Boards need to come from that. Steel from that. Bricks from that. Gravel from that. Everything else from the customs building. So let's copy all those items so everyone's on the same page. Fuel is looking good. Looks like we've got sufficient materials for the time being. But what's not happening is this vehicle hasn't come to export the oil yet. Leaving it a little late. So I tell you what, I'll build another distribution office that's actually next to the pump jack area. It's just, I think it's just too much of a distance to actually get there in time before it is full. That was good. So, load. And unload. 80%. 15 tons. So it should give it enough time to fill back up. Okay. Things going on the hill. Slow work. They're essentially all working on the bits of road that they can get to first. Only do what they can do in the time that we've got. Whilst this is taking quite a while, even on full speed, you can see that in September we imported 2,700 rubles worth of materials, but we've exported 1,600 worth of oil. So it's taken the edge off that pain of importing all the materials, just having the single, not particularly efficient pump jack running. It's just taking the worst of that pain off before we can actually produce our own gravel and our own concrete. So it's not a bad idea. Poorly implemented maybe, but it's working. I just hope I don't run out of money before I actually get anybody to move in. So whilst this is getting constructed at the top, let's go and have a look, see where we might build our farm. As like I said, it's going to have to be in this area of the valley, because that's where the fertility, rather the humidity is, to enable the farms to be constructed. Pretty standard with the construction materials. We'll start with a small farm initially. Problem is, wherever we construct it is going to be taking fertile ground away. That's a good position for it. So what happens in the farm? We need to basically import fuel, potentially fertilizer, liquid fertilizer with an oil tank. Okay, I don't think we're going to use the conveyor links necessarily to start with. I'm going to position it there, I'm not going to construct it yet, because I'd like to get that done first. But we can start setting out the farms. So I think, yeah, we're not going to have really any areas that we can fit the large field, so we're going to have to construct small fields where we can. And what's interesting is you can build it under the power lines. I'm going to remove this construction office, and we can remove the little additional roads because we've constructed the road that we need. So this buys us back a little bit more space. Maybe we can fit a large or a medium field there. Ooh. Sort of going into the ground a bit. I wonder if that's worth doing compared to... Yeah, it's difficult to tell really, isn't it? What looks more realistic? Yeah, the big field is too big. See if we can build that there. So we're not going to sow anything yet because we don't have any workers and we don't have anywhere to take the crops to. Unless, can you sell crops at the border? Can. So what's the purpose of the farm again? Basically, there's no crops from here. They have to come from the farm. That makes sense. I was just wondering whether we need the farm at all. We clearly do. So let's see where we can squeeze in a few more fields. Oh! Yes, that's about as tight as you can get it, I think. Imagine this is going to be... Oh, we're alright with that. Oh, it just goes up the hill. That's awesome. What about here? It's a step too far, maybe? No, it's kind of... Okay, it's cropping it a little bit. What about over here? Do a sideways one. Interesting. So yeah, it kind of works. It's not the most efficient way of laying them out, but I feel like we're making use of the valley as much as we can here. And this is going to be initially, again, something we just export until we start making food from it. So it's just taking the edge off. I don't really want to avoid building this to get the farm done. We really need to get some of the settlement constructed, so we just have to be patient. There was talk by me in the first episode about getting an oil pipeline to the border, but because I have to build the connection myself, pretty sure I can construct it anywhere along the border. I might be wrong. So I'm not going to leave space for a pipeline. If I need to use an existing border post, I will use one of the others, because I think it's quite far off being able to get to that point yet. Wow, it's really different humidity depending on which way you orientate it. I'm just wondering if you can actually get a road connection on this one. Yeah, this is what I thought. No point if you can't actually get to it. We can remove this dirt road as well. Compromise with the power lines, but what can you do? Yeah, foreign manpower is our biggest cost at the moment. So as soon as we can get these constructed, we can start bringing our own people in. Pretty busy. Everyone's doing what they can. I know I've probably made a heinous error using asphalt instead of gravel roads. I'm pretty much doubling the time it's taking and the cost to construct my infrastructure, but you live and learn. First time I played this game, so you can see why that might have been a misstep. It's fine, I'm enjoying myself. To work out how many fields you can assign to each farm, how far away it has to be. There's a problem. It's already got power connections, that's good. Let's see, that's the starting point. As soon as we start constructing that, then we can see if we've got too few fields or too many. Notice the cement truck is on its way. That means we are starting to construct buildings. So that's a good step. Yep. Grocery store. And it's bricks and boards. Just need some steel and some concrete. I think it's the concrete that's on its way. Yeah, the mixer. And the vehicle with the steel. Excellent. I'm not broke yet. Our imports are matching our oil exports at the moment. Did have a look around the area to see if there was any more oil that would be available. Pump jack. Apart from the source that I already got. The closest one was actually down by the river. Over here. I don't really want to build. I don't really want to build another road to the river yet. Not yet. I couldn't see anything else. Nothing. 0% all the way around. It's supposed to be Central Asia. So it was just going to be like a good petro economy. It's probably way over in the hills. They just teased us with this one little deposit near the border. But well, we'll get to it when we get to it. Yeah, the concrete's going to cost quite a lot now. Can't make that ourselves yet. So I've been constructing a few more fields where I can, wherever there is a positive humidity number that I can actually use. Going to be a bit patchy and a bit messy, but I'm going to have to use the field fertility and humidity where I can get it. And hopefully one farm is hopefully one farm will be sufficient to deal with this number of fields. I think I read somewhere that 30 large fields can be managed by one farm, so we're not going to have anywhere near that amount. Oh, I placed these way too close together. Okay, so we might have to move that one. Just demolish it. Okay. We do need a bit of space. That's for sure. Let's try this again. There's the crossing. There's the connection. So don't do them too tightly together. Excellent. So I'm just building mud roads, these very short distances. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue. Though connecting them at these short angles certainly is going to be the problem. You live and learn. Don't understand why it wants to go so curvy. There you go. It always does it in the end. What the problem is. think these are connected. Yeah, it's quite difficult to see. The road texture is pretty much identical to the ground texture at very small distances. See how it's going on top. Oh, excellent. We have a grocery store. Fantastic. It's good, they're making progress. Still plenty of materials. So another thing I want to do, as a way of maybe trying to just get some sort of income, even if it's not that efficient in the long term of the game, is to get some cut stone in the gravel quarries. These just need to be positioned where we have some good stone sources. I know we've got some decent ones around here, I'm sure. Ooh, I saw an 80% there. Okay, so we need the free excavator to build those. So they have to be on these sort of rocky outcrops. Yeah, you do need a free excavator. Okay, we'll come back to those. Let's see if we can get a couple more farms in. In my headcanon, I feel like these are going to be like olives, something like that. Something very dry, not that much of a yield. Don't think we're growing carrots and parsnips out here. Oh man, these roads. Gosh, this is just like... Thought the curves on Transport Fever were a pain. It's the simplest little bit of geometry. It just goes crazy, and then suddenly it's all fine. It knew it could do it. Just likes to kick up a bit of a fuss. I think these are great humidity figures, but better than nothing. Not a lot I can do about that. Jesus Christ. Okay, so you definitely have to do the crossing first. Over the railway. Once you've got that done, then I think it's relatively straightforward to make the connection. Okay. Okay, a new forklift truck. Wonderful. Good, the fire station's coming on. I'm going to need that pretty soon, I would have said, because something's bound to go wrong. Something's bound to go on fire before I even get anywhere near anything looking like success in this game. I'll organise food and meat deliveries garbage disposal once we've got everything up and running. Won't store anything whilst no one's actually living here. We will need to move one of the construction offices to construct this. It's too far from the construction offices at the top of the hill. So we're going to go ahead and start looking into the water supply and the sewer system. Now the sewer system we'll come to secondly. The water supply is going to be a bit complicated on this map because we are in basically the desert. So we'll see what water options we have. I think I had a quick check of the river earlier on, the surface water intake. Actually, you only get 78%. Okay, I was going to criticize this river being terrible water quality, but if 78% is all you get anyway, then maybe it's not so bad. 77. So that's as good as it's going to get. Not great. Definitely have to have water treatment for that. So small water well is 95. Okay, so I believe it has to be 97 for the population to sort of drink it safely. And I think some of the industries require 97% as well. There is no water for the well. We have maybe 15%, 95. So what this means is the maximum output of the small well, which is 70 cubic meters of water, we're only going to get 5% of that if we put a well in here. Not great, is it? There's absolutely nothing in here. It's dry as a board. Ooh. Oh, say, hang on. There is a damp patch. Okay, so we might get a bit from up here. It's quite a long way away. But it is closer than the river. Put water up here. I'm going to have to be careful where I put my industries because I don't want them to pollute the groundwater and pollute the well. Gonna have to put some water treatment in anyway because it's not of sufficient quality. Okay, so I think I'm gonna build some wells rather than pumping it up from the river because gravity and pumps are a thing. I think it's going to be quite a task to get water up from the river, but what I am going to do is pump sewage out to the river. If I could manage to find a way of attaching this building to the water. Okay. Maybe there's a good spot. It's the most direct way that we can get this in. Gosh, I don't think there's any easy way. We built the town on the most difficult spot here. In terms of access, probably directly out here. Very, very careful where we position this. I had this. There we go. That's it. So we're going to have to get all of this, all of these materials to this location before we can start discharging. So that is quite a long road to construct. What I'm going to do, I'm going to build the asphalt roads to continue down the valley, because this is going to be a main road to somewhere in the future. That can carry on down the valley. And let's just check, what do we need in terms of workers in the sewage discharge? Sure, we need... No, we do not actually need anybody working there. We do need fire access, so I'm going to build... Initially, I'm going to build a mud road just to allow us to construct it initially. And this may end up being the road. Maybe it's all we need. Just need to navigate our way up this hill. So it's quite a tortuous route. Let's get down again. So this is all to be constructed once the main settlement is constructed. So it doesn't necessarily need a road connection, but you do need to get access to it to construct it and to provide fire coverage. Okay. Then we need a sewer pipe. And go into underground mode with F3. Okay, so we need to make sure using E and Q, you see that adjusts the height of the pipe. So we can't go level, we do need to put slope on it. This is going to take a huge, absolutely huge amount of pipe. This is insane. Just to get it here, we don't have prefab panels. I haven't researched those yet. Is that to do with the type of pipe? No. Prefab panels required for the pipes. So I tell you what, this is a absolutely insane amount of pipe work, which I don't think I'm going to be able to manage at this point. I think this is too much. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to have a vehicle to come out of underground road. We can have a vehicle take the sewage to the sewage discharge, or at least to a point where we can pump it to the sewage discharge that makes sense. At the moment, this is just way too far away. And we can do that through sewage loading unloading station. This in itself does take a little bit of construction, but it's not that bad. Just trying to orientate it. So that the sewage pipes are aiming towards our sewage outlet. But I might not be able to do that. I might have to do something a little complicated. So there was sewage loading station. What will happen is technical services will pick this up at the pump. Then the sewage loading station, somewhere that it can be dropped to, and we can create a vehicle using the distribution office that will take it to another one of these near to the outfall. So that's what we're going to have to do for now. It might work at the top of here because gravity will then allow us to take it downwards. Don't have a free excavator. Okay. Well, that's the plan anyway. Don't want to take my excavators off their current jobs at the moment. Okay, so going back to water supply. We have a water substation. And all the buildings are connected to this. We need a water tower to supply this. So there is a difference, quite a difference, and I'm going to work on the basis that we're future-proofing. Position that around here. Don't want to be too close to the sewage. I'll give myself some room. I'm going to position that there. Then I'm going to create a switch. What this means is, once I've got a water connection coming from here, I want a switch to be able to then provide another water substation down here without using up one of these valuable inputs or outputs. I think we can position this somewhere in this area. To supply this, we need our water wells. And the small ones don't need workers. They can't just run on their own. It's a case of finding somewhere with a good, decent amount of water here. We might only be able to get up to 75. I mean, we're in the desert. Beggars can't be choosers at this point. Okay. I believe we need then a pump then we can provide water treatment. This does require some chemicals to be brought in. So if we try and bring this over as close as possible to the settlement, I don't believe that this produces any nasty pollution. We build it, I think, roughly in this location. Okay, now our pipes. Fortunately, there are going to need to be some pipes constructed. Go from the well to the pump. This pumps to the treatment. A bit disorientated with that view. God, there's so much steel. So much steel. Need a little neat and tidy with our pipes. Going to be built along the road to a point. It might be wrong, but I think we need another pumping station. Get it up to the top of the water tower. So we could maybe position that in this location. The output from the treatment. Always makes this complicated, doesn't it? That's what I wanted to do. Then into the water tower. When we come out of the water tower, into the switch, and then to our water substation. I can... yeah, I don't want to do that. Can't get too close to it. That's it. Probably making an absolute meal out of this. Why don't think we have really any choice. I'm going to build basic construction haul road out to these guys. So that's the water taken care of. We were going to attempt to see if we could, or to be honest, should I just do the pipes? We're going to need the pipes eventually. We might as well just go and do it for the sewer. You know, I don't think we can avoid it. Let's just do it. I think this is a learning exercise anyway, because I've never played this game before in my life. There we go. So you can see it drags up the little manholes as you drag the sewer pipe out. It's quite fun. So we have a mountain to get over, unfortunately. We have 6,000 work days, 1,400 tons of gravel. So that's a problem. So we don't really want to dig under this hill. So I'm going to pump it up. If I can pump it up. Gosh, this is going to be such a complicated thing to do. What have I bitten off here? Okay, you can see how much lower that is. I actually do need to position it with the rotation keys and the move up keys. Still not connecting. Let's try and cut back some of this pipe. See if we can get a better connection in now. Yeah, it's not deep enough, that's the problem. We position that next to it. So I'm going to cancel this and move it further down the river because I can't actually get to it with the pipes. I'm going to have to build down basically to this point. That's if I can actually get these pipes to reach this. Maybe this is a step too far as well. Okay, so it will connect there. I don't even want to know how long it's going to take to achieve this. That's insane. Okay, we'll extend our road. So it's going in the right direction down the valley as well. It'll be a while before we can actually access this to be able to construct it. So in other news, we have most of the roads completed for the town, which allows us to start working on some of the buildings that they access to. We have a completed bus platform, which is where initially our workers are going to be leaving from. We have some garbage stands constructed. This is all positive. So the clinic and the cinema are under construction. The sports field is completed. A reminder, this is where our farm will be constructed, and these are our fields in the area of high humidity at the base of the valley. We are spaffing money. Imported a huge amount of material, only exported close to 2,000 oil. I just hope I can get somewhere where I can start exporting something before I completely run out of money. You'll note I haven't built a heating plant or any heating pipes on this map. It never really went below 15, 18 degrees over the winter. So pretty sure we're not going to need those. We have some prefab panels. That's excellent. Because our water pump over in the greener area in the desert over there does need power, I'd failed to create a power switch that allows us to branch off power. I brought the power right up all the way to the substation, so I'm going to have to remove an area of power lines that I've already constructed, unfortunately, to enable me to place a switch. I'm going to place the larger switch. Place it over here. And once these power lines are demolished, we will be able to connect this, and connect the switch, and connect the power to the water lines. But we do need a demolition office. Before we can do that. Try and build a free one that doesn't require any excavation. Oh, so here's a problem. So we haven't even thought about the what we're going to use as a dump for the refuse yet. But to allow us to deconstruct these power lines, so I can put the switch in that I should have had, we are going to need to consider where these items are dumped. So I'm going to have to come up with a solution for that as well. But that's fine, we will definitely need one. Not going to get away without having one. Question is where. And I'm kind of thinking we don't want it near the town. We could possibly have it sort of centrally, somewhere down here. So let's have a look, see what our options are. Basic small dump, free. Can't build it under power lines. Needs to be flat. We temporarily build one over here and then worry about how we deal with this later on. I think so. So that's a sign where we need to get things from. So workers are coming from customs house. Explosives are coming from the customs house. Construction waste and metal scrap could go in the aggregate storage. Hazardous waste, mixed waste can go to the dump. And we need some vehicles. Interesting, which vehicles do we need? We've got 4 spots. Let's get a bus, workers, excavator. We'll reuse these. We need a waste truck, which we are going to reuse. And we need an open hull. Use one of the bigger ones. This is a turn up. Wasn't something I was expecting to do yet. Not sure we bought the waste truck. Yes, we did. So yeah, try and get it right the first time, so you don't have to amend it, because you have to go through all this faff as well. There we go. So I'm probably going to leave it there. Lots of work to do here, but there's lots of things organised once this is built. We have the water area to build, we have the farm to build, and I'm going to build a food factory because food is quite a lucrative export. 115 rubles a ton, whereas crops are only 17 rubles a ton. So it was really important if we're going to actually make any of this money back that we started with. We start selling some high value items to the border. So I'm definitely going to build a food factory. So the farm to build, food factory, I haven't constructed that yet. And then we have our sewer pipes, our sewer outflow build as well. And then we might be getting a bit closer to something looking like somewhere people are going to live and work. So we'll invite some citizens and then we'll see how this all goes. So far it's a bit of a chaotic mess. Like I say, the first time I played this game, working on the basis of the wiki and some good YouTube guides. Yeah, it's not so bad. Yeah, I love the complexity of it. I think this is really, really interesting. The level of depth and detail. I've not seen this in a building game before. So really enjoying it. So hopefully it's not going to go too badly in this first playthrough. So hopefully you can join me again next time.